Welcome back, Troglodytes, to another episode of Trogly's Guitars. Today we have a 2013 Les Paul Studio Deluxe 2. This is basically like your standard Les Paul Studio, except for it has a really nice flame maple top on it, and it has what people have been doing for years. They kind of scrape the finish away, so it kind of looks like you have binding, but that's just the maple top exposed there. So this is a really high-end feeling entry-level Les Paul, and honestly this is a fantastic playing guitar. Now I purchased this guitar as just a husk because I had a bunch of leftover parts just spare in my drawer that I kind of wanted to cobble together to create, you know, kind of an interesting Les Paul. This one showed up at the right price and I needed some of the parts that were on it. So it all worked out for everybody, so this one will be a good deal for somebody, but I don't know, I'm almost tempted to keep this one. That's just how nice this one is. It's got a complete gloss finish, so it's not one of the faded standards by any means, and the top is fairly nice as you can see here. But let's go ahead and go into the condition and the parts that I put on it. The front of the headstock here is in good shape. You can see you've got the gold silkscreen Gibson logo there, as well as the Les Paul model. You do have a few light dings on the edges, especially on the back of the headstock here, right there. But overall, this guitar is fairly clean. It feels like it's been carnauba waxed, so it's got a very slick feel to it. You've got some light dust, but I put some Grovers on this guitar. I initially purchased these Grovers for that 1981 custom that I had because I was trying to give it the Ace Frehley vibe. But unfortunately, despite the package saying it'll fit, you know, almost every guitar, I just happen to have that almost every guitar. I didn't want to route out the tuning spots anymore on that 81 custom, so I just threw these in the parts drawer, and it worked for these guys. So you've got those really cool perloid tips on the top of these, and these tuners are fantastic. I put this on this guitar, I restrung it, and I figured, alright, it might take a while to get these tuners to go in, but no, even on new strings, after my first initial blast on the guitar that I usually do, I bend it like crazy. I mean, the strings were only a little bit flat, so these are fantastic tuners. Definitely recommend them. You have all the plastics on this guitar are stock, but it looks like rosewood. They might have that baked maple. I'll have to check for sure for the listing. But you have your trapezoid inlays, but no binding on the neck. And personally, I like that. For some reason, binding feels restrictive to me. I prefer an unbound neck, but I like the look of the bound neck, so I'm fairly conflicted when it comes to that aspect. But look at this top again. I mean, it's not the most active flame top in the world, but for a studio, this is pretty good. I mean, look at that. That's pretty active. I like that. Alright, so once again, all the plastics are original to the guitar, including the pickup rings, pick guard, and these thingamabobbers, but overall the condition on the front, you do have some light nicks and dings as you're seeing as I run the light. It's definitely been a played guitar, and for good reason. You can see a lot of wear and tear kind of underneath the tailpiece here. You can see there is a small area of missing finish. That's right here. A little bit of a ding there, but then there's other dings in the clear coat and indentations from like your strap and whatnot. So it's not a mint condition guitar by any means, but it's definitely a great player. You don't have to be scared to be the first one to put a mark on it. Pickups, they're kind of cheapy pickups. I forget what pickups they really are. I bought like a whole grab bag of pickups like a year or two ago. I think they're slightly above like Epiphone standards, so these are not fantastic pickups by any means, but I think they actually sounded pretty good. You might want to put your own favorite pickup in here. The bridge is actually from a 70s or 80s Gibson, so that's worth a little bit of money on its own if you wanted to get like a Tone Pros to sell that off. And the tailpiece, I'm not quite sure the vintage of it, but it is a lightweight tailpiece that I had sitting around. And I believe these are stocks of the guitar. I'm not 100% sure on that. The wiring on the inside has all been upgraded to 500K CTS pots with bumblebee caps, which honestly are definitely a nicer upgrade than the pickups were. So really, the only thing, if you don't like the pickups, would be getting the pickups that you like. But as you can see, the back is fairly clean, no major nicks or dings, and beautiful wood too. They definitely used high-grade wood on these Deluxe studios. This is probably the worst part condition-wise, is there's a lot of wear. I'm not sure what the guy was wearing that did that, but he was probably sitting down, but it's definitely chewed up in that corner. Maybe he had his car keys hanging out of his pocket while it's resting on his leg there. But overall, it's not too bad, but I love the fake binding look with the maple top. I think it looks pretty good. I'll go to the back of the headstock here. We already mentioned that one ding. You've got serial number of 12 27 31 44 5, which makes it a 2013 model. There's been quite a few different kinds of tuners on this guitar. You can see there are little holes above the Grovers, so they had kind of a Clouson style on at one point in time. But this neck is in good shape. It's got some very light indentations, but nothing too incredibly bad. The profile is quite interesting. It feels very wide, but it's very thin. So it's definitely, I would say, a 60s profile. But since the fretboard's so wide, it kind of makes it a little bit more comfortable if you like a larger neck. So I would definitely say 60s profile, but definitely kind of a wider feeling neck than usual. Not quite 2015 wide, but definitely a wider neck. I can't recommend this guitar enough. I had a lot of fun playing it, even though it's kind of a parts caster of some sorts, but it's a beautiful guitar. Quick look under black light. It's a fairly newer guitar, so you won't see too much glowing, but look at those white tuner tips glowing. The front of the body here, I kind of just wanted to point out that little finish ding a little bit better there. But everything else is good. Take a look at the back of the guitar real quick. No breaks, cracks, or repairs, or finish touch-ups. Take a look at the side here so you can see how it got chewed up a little bit by something, but that really is the worst of the guitar. And thankfully you don't see that when you're playing, so it's a very clean guitar. This kind of helps point out some of the wear in this area on it too. I mean, it's not, a mint condition guitar, but it's not completely trashed either. But it does weigh 8 pounds 4.5 ounces, which is pretty light for a Les Paul and very comfortable. This guitar does come with an aftermarket case. I was a little bit disappointed because the initial seller's photo showed the original case, but that's not what it came in. But this case does show some light wear and tear. I mean, it's not a perfect case. The fit isn't 100%, but I mean, the guitar does fit in the case. And I'll leave it at that. It's just a cheapy made in China case, but it's better than a gig bag, I would say. We'll demonstrate here. If I move it side to side, you can see it's not really secure. I'll pack you some extra bubble wrap, or you can leave some towels in here and that would snug up the fit. Or maybe you have another case for it and you can give this to something that has a gig bag. One neck rest, but it does keep it off the floor. And once again, I'll give you more bubble wrap, so it'll definitely be safe for shipment. We will be demoing today through a Marshall JMP 1C 1-watt tube amplifier. think you might be interested in owning this Gibson Les Paul Studio Deluxe 2, feel free to contact me on my Facebook page, facebook.com/Troglys, Troglys, or you can check out the listing on eBay or Reverb. Alright, Troglodytes, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll catch you next time. Bye.